Hello, and welcome to Your Story, Your Tune. I'm so glad you've joined me tonight. This is where we share real stories from listeners and viewers just like you. Moments that have shaped lives, changed hearts, and given us something to hold on to when we need it most. And with each story comes a song, the one piece of music that carries all those memories and feelings. Tonight we have a story that reminds us how love can arrive in the most unexpected ways, and how sometimes the greatest journeys begin with trust. This comes from Ayesha in Leicester, who wrote to us about an arrangement that became a lifetime. This is Ayesha's story. In the spring of 1998, Ayesha was 20 years old, studying for her teaching qualification at De Montfort University and living at home with her parents in Leicester's Belgrave area. She'd grown up surrounded by the sounds of the Golden Mile, the smell of her mother's cooking, and the steady rhythm of a close-knit community. Her friends were getting engaged, some to boyfriends they'd chosen themselves, others through family introductions. Ayesha wasn't opposed to either path, really. She trusted her parents, understood their values, and knew they wanted her happiness above all else. Still, when her mother mentioned a young man from a good family, someone they'd met at the mosque, Ayesha felt her stomach flip. This was real now. Not some abstract future. An actual person with a name and a face and a life that might become tangled up with hers. His name was Imran. He was 23, worked as an accountant in Loughborough, and came from a family her parents had known for years. They arranged a meeting at a community gathering in Belgrave, chaperoned and entirely proper. Ayesha wore her favourite salwar kameez, pale blue with silver embroidery, and tried not to let her hands shake as she poured tea. Imran was quiet, gentle. He had kind eyes and a nervous smile, and when he spoke, it was with careful thoughtfulness. They talked about small things, her studies, his work, their families. Nothing earth-shattering. But there was something in the way he listened, really listened, that made her feel seen. By the end of the evening, Ayesha thought, I could talk to this man. I could trust him. And perhaps that was enough to begin with. Over the next few months, they met several more times, always with family present, slowly piecing together who the other person was. Imran told her about his love of cricket, his close relationship with his younger sister, the way he'd struggled with shyness as a boy. Ayesha shared her dream of teaching primary school children, her passion for literature, the way her grandmother's stories had shaped her imagination. They discovered shared values, faith, family, kindness, but also small joys. They both loved old Bollywood films, preferred masala chai made strong and sweet, and had a weakness for samosas from the same shop on Belgrave Road. In June, with both families' blessings, they agreed to marry. The wedding was in August, a joyful, exhausting blur of colour and music and relatives Ayesha hadn't seen in years. She remembers Imran's hand, warm and steady, holding hers during the ceremony. She remembers thinking, I barely know you, but I want to. The early months of marriage were strange and tender. They were two polite strangers learning to share a life, a home, a bed. There were awkward moments, misunderstandings about household routines, different ways of doing things, the simple vulnerability of being seen first thing in the morning. But there was also laughter. Imran had a dry sense of humour that caught her off guard. He'd leave little notes for her, silly sketches, terrible puns, tucked into her textbooks or beside the kettle. And slowly, without either of them quite noticing when it happened, they stopped being strangers. One evening, a few months in, they were washing up together after dinner. The radio was playing some old Hindi song Ayesha's mother used to hum. Imran took her hand, still damp with soap suds, and began to sway. No grand gesture, no announcement, just a quiet dance in their small kitchen in Evington. And Ayesha realised, I love him. Not the overwhelming passion of films, but something deeper, something like home. 28 years have passed since that wedding day. Ayesha became a primary school teacher just as she'd dreamed, and has spent nearly 3 decades shaping young minds in Leicester. Imran stayed in accountancy, eventually starting his own small practice. They never had children, it simply wasn't meant to be, but their lives have been full nonetheless. Full of Sunday lunches with extended family, holidays to Pakistan visiting relatives, quiet evenings reading side by side. Full of Imran bringing her tea without being asked. Of Ayesha knowing exactly when he needs space and when he needs company. They've weathered the usual storms: money worries, aging parents, illness, grief. When Ayesha's father passed away 5 years ago, it was Imran who held her through the long nights, who organised everything so she could simply grieve. When Imran's business nearly folded during the 2008 recession, it was Ayesha's unwavering belief in him that kept him going. Their marriage hasn't been perfect. They've had arguments, disappointments, moments of frustration. But beneath it all has been a foundation of respect, kindness, and genuine affection. Last month, on their anniversary, Imran surprised her. He'd made a playlist of songs from the summer they met, all those tracks that played at wedding functions and on the radio in 1998. And there, in the middle, was the song that had been playing that evening in the kitchen when they danced together for the first time. Ayesha hadn't thought about it in years, but hearing it again brought everything back. The uncertainty of those early days, the gentle unfolding of love, the faith they'd both shown in something bigger than themselves. She looked at Imran, greyer now, a bit rounder, still with those same kind eyes, and felt profoundly grateful. Tradition had given her a stranger. Time and choice had given her a soulmate. What had begun as an arrangement had become the greatest love story she could have imagined. Not because it was written in the stars, but because they'd written it together, day by ordinary day. Ayesha's story reminds us that love can bloom in many ways, and that sometimes the deepest connections grow from the smallest moments of trust and kindness. And the song that means everything to Ayesha? It's Tum Hai Ho by Arijit Singh. It's the song that was playing that evening when she and Imran first danced in their kitchen, when a respectful arrangement became something truly their own. We can't play it for you here due to copyright, but I will leave a card and a link in the description for you to enjoy Ayesha's song. If you have a story you'd like to share, we'd love to hear it. Until next time, this has been Your Story, Your Tune.